Welcome to yet another episode of Inside Out. Nimeshazoea hiyo side ingine coming to peace, lakini sasa hapa tuko kwa Inside Out where we want to really bring the stuff that matter to the light. Wakati tumechoka na kuangalia kikombe kutoka nje, so we want to understand what really goes on inside. Today I'm joined by great people here, a couple that amazes me every time I think about them. Kuna watu tunasemanga a police cannot marry a policeman, but hawa ni maaskari wawili wameoana. And of course I'm talking about Jairus Kibagendi. Jairus Kibagendi is a psychologist who has won awards left, right, center. We'll talk about them. And of course is the CEO of Million Hugs and works with Ether Wellness Center. A young man who amazes me how he thinks and the amount of stuff that he has achieved at his age. And of course I'm joined also with Donna Onguti. This one tukianza kupiga story yake ni mpaka kesho. But I'll say a few that I can be able to say for now. She's a senior counselor at the Kenya Kisii Teaching and Referral Hospital. And she's also a counselor, not counselor, a physiotherapist. I understand these words lazima kuwe serious. Tunajua watu counseling ni counseling tu. So she's a senior physiotherapist at the
psychologist.
Physiotherapist and psychologist.
Yes.
At the KTRH, that's Kisii Teaching and Referral Hospital. She's also a counselor at and CEO at Ether Wellness Center. She is an award winner. This award is called Mental Health Trailblazer Award in Yakonayo. And of course she's a mother of 3 handsome boys. She's here with us. Tunaenda kushare mambo kadhaa. Hello guys.
Hi.
Probably I have not said all about yourselves because unajua nyinyi you intimidate me.
Forgiveness.
You are the goal.
I am the goal.
Yes.
All this is about me.
It's about you.
Then I'm the boss.
Yeah.
Not the goal, I'm the boss.
I used to have a friend in Kole, alikuwa anaitwa Richie Msafi. Richie Msafi used to say, kila mtu ni mzee, kila mtu ni mzee. Every day he comes, before he speaks to you guys, he starts by saying, kila mtu ni mzee, kila mtu ni mzee. Yeah.
Anawainua kwanza, wengine ni wabaya, ni wakali. I'll say one last thing about Donna. She's an published author of a book, a serious book called, mnafaa kupata copy. Inaitwa The Art of Becoming a Companion with an African lady in her journey to womanhood. Yeah. Maybe sijaisema vizuri, but that's the point. Unafaa kuiona hii and I don't know why I think that men want to read it more, need to read it more than ladies.
Yeah.
They should.
Yeah, they should.
Donna, how are you?
I'm fine.
Niambie utarusha mchanga? Let me start from you. There's shida ni sisi. Does it worry you that if you go first like men do, that she might not, or does it worry you that whether she will or not throw soil or sand into your grave?
Thank you, Steve. I think that's especially now that we're having that conversation. Personally, the way I see it, I have tremendous respect for our culture. Absolutely, I follow up my roots in terms of culture where I come from, but then there are some things that we have to let go now. Whether she throws the soil or not, I will be dead in the first place. All right, it does not that aspect of culture in the first place, the way I understand it, is a sign of last respect, and it should come willingly from her. So if she wants to, she will. If she doesn't want to, no one should force her to do it. All right? And I go further and I tell her every time, please, mommy, if God forbid I die early, mourn, get through the emotions, please get married, continue with your life, achieve all your dreams. I really am against that you are a young widow and you still have you're sexually active, you have the need to be needed and the need for companionship. please, if a person has died, they have died. If you still have the need for companionship, then go ahead and get married again. You can remarry. The way from the lenses through which I see it. Yeah? And you shouldn't be bound that now you are a widow of someone and then you stay there ignoring your emotional needs and even physical needs sometimes just because your partner died. People are doing it in other countries. People are remarrying in other progressive countries. And I think that's the place where we need to get to as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
Donna, that's great to have a man who thinks like that, because some of us, we even force our wives when we die from where we come. In fact, that something happened, we forgot, because we know you know this already. Where I come from, Mosambiki, a neighboring village, a woman was forced and beaten badly. Kuforsiwa kurusha mchanga kwa nini. There's a reverse way of thinking, like our brains have been bent backward, so to say, where women are now taking pride, like I'm a young mother, I'm a single mother, I'm a young widow. They think it's something fashionable. It's even being sold or packaged glamorously, but deep inside you realize these people are really suffering. What's your take? And before you even say or respond to what he said, what's your take on a woman being forced or being required culturally to throw sand, ama do a ritual that binds them to the dead person, like they cannot remarry? What's your take on that?
Thank you. My take is it's my plea to my people to let the death rest. I don't see the reason to why we need to bind ourselves with someone who is dead. Yeah? So my take is, can we allow this person who was lost, who is mourning, to make a will or a choice, the free will? Actually, Steve, Jesus, God, gave us the free will to choose. God himself, our creator, gave us the free will. You can choose whatever you want to do as a person. Who gave people, humans, the authority to choose for other human beings? Yeah. So it's us to rise and make peace with the fact that people can choose whatever they want to choose, and some choices are the choices that you could not choose, and maybe they can trigger you, but let us have the grace of accepting that this is what this person has chosen. So for the idea, can we allow our people to choose whatever they want to do at that time? Because who will die in the process because they have not done that? That's
true. Yeah. That's true. They say dead men tell no tales.
Yeah.
So you're alive, you can tell your tale right now, but when you die, it's me who will be forcing her to throw a sand. So what do you think? do you sometimes feel like tunafaa hata tupige hii story before tukufe kwamba this is what I want?
Yes, we need to. By the way,
yes.
Steve, something that also very many people don't do. You don't, for instance, leave a will for your people to actually know that death is inevitable. All of us are going to die, so we should prepare for our death. All right. So let your people know your will, your wishes. And even if when you have property, you say, this is how I'd want this property to be distributed amongst you in case I am gone. We've seen fights come up, especially in families where there is no will. Matanga ikitokea tu hivi, there's a series of fights. People mwili nakaa mortuary for 3 months, 6 months, because they have not agreed on how to distribute the wealth, the estate of the deceased amongst themselves. Ni vizuri sana tuongee. Let our people know our wishes and our will on what we want done when we depart.
Exactly. And now it's becoming more evident that shida sio hata mali peke yake. Shida hata ni kutokujua venye unazataka matanga yako iko conducted that specific day. Is it something that you can do if you had a chance, which I would wish that you do, kwa sababu mimi nitakuwa na serve something else maybe that is not your interest. Unaweza taka kuandika, is it something that you would like to do, that uandike mahali, don't force her, if I die before 70 please don't force her.
Yes, absolutely. And I think these conversations now should be had in family setups. There's good old times when we used to have family meetings. I think part of the things that we should now include evidently is,
by the way,
in case you leave, what do you want done?
Actually, Steve, let me shock you. Yeah? I've thought about my death severally because I know I will die at some point. And as now I'm speaking, I'm preparing my death. One of the greatest fear that I've been having is my children. I said I have 3 handsome boys. Yeah? So I'm like, if I die now, watakuwa aje? Yeah? But you see, death is inevitable. It's beyond my control. Then I came up with this idea. I could wish my boys to know what I stood for, what were my values, what were my principles. Yeah. So I went to the supermarket. I bought 3 notebooks for them.
Wow.
And I wrote Regan, and Reggie. Yeah. So I always communicate to them through that book. Yeah, it's a triple R. Yeah. I always communicate to that book. Nenda nandika, something I could wish my boys. If I'm not there, they will read and know this is mom speaking to me. So even if I die now and they read Mari Nimefika, they will know what mom stood for. Mom loved us. Mom had challenges. Yeah. So I mean, they should be able to know who I am. Hata kama nimekufa. That's me preparing for my death. Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome. Some of us, we don't know what, I don't personally know what my father thinks of me. I don't know why.
Don't you think it's a very good thing to have?
Yeah, it is.
When you are dead, your father is not alive, and then you are looking at the book and he's communicating to you, very intimate, emotionally connecting with you. Wow. It's something that you can really...
The way I see it, if this young man becomes a person who's interested in, say, doing books, they can do a memoir on how they grew up, and they have physical evidence in picture form that can be in the books that this is how we were raised.
Yeah, because sometimes when they are away and I miss them and I can't reach them, I go to that book and express myself. Like today it's this date and date. You are somewhere and I feel I miss you. I thought I'll have to write this, blah blah blah. This is what I wish for you for the rest of your life. Yeah, don't you think it's a good thing?
Wow. I would like you to be my man.
I can adopt.
Can you adopt me, please?
As a child.
Men only 32 though. And I kulanga 3 times a day. Yeah. So it is so beautiful that now we share like now we can have something in unasema. I want time with my mom. They can still have time with you.
Yeah,
when you're
exactly.
Gone. Like real, for real. This is my mother's handwriting.
Yes.
She was thinking about me. It's so practical. It's so real.
Yeah, even at the date, even the milestone, like when he was going to the boarding school. This was my experience. These were my emotions, and I wrote down. So you will get to experience that.
Wewe nikupenda. Unajua tunasema we love you even in death, but sasa hiyo itakufanya you can still they can. Unajua the moment anasoma ile kitu and I feel real time.
Yeah.
When you say I missed you and I feel real time.
Yes.
Kama oh my God. Let's talk about kuzikana kwanza. There are people like the recent incident imenionyesha mambo mengi. What can happen especially if we men die young, even you guys, but it affects mostly it affects women when they're children. So kuna the lady was beaten vibaya sana kurusha mchanga, and it's the man they had a relationship with, not the community, much as our culture says it's our wife, but it was a personal kind of thing. Alafu mtoto akanyweshwa mchanga, akalishwa mchanga wa kaburi na kunyweshwa na maji. Then akaambiwa ongelesha babako, there's no place you and your mama are ever going to go. It made me feel there are people come to burials ama to funerals with different intentions. Kuna watu wanakuja hata kupiga selfies. Kuna watu wanakuja ku create content.
Kuona nyumba umejenga.
I feel it made me think nafaa kuandika tu invites only. Hata burial yangu nafaa kwa invites only. So that it can be how I would have loved it to be. What's your take, Jairus, on we now making hata politicians kukuja, hata wahubiri kukuja, it should be something my will.
Yes.
So beyond the will being mali itakuwa shadaje, it's what will happen to my wife and how my burial or my day will be run.
Yeah.
My take is, let's respect the dead and the bereaved. All right? Let's respect wale watu wamekufiwa. In the story that is very sensational and is doing rounds on social media, this lady was seeking, in the first place, she was seeking closure on how this man died.
Clarity.
All right? And seeking that clarity is part of the reason why there is a lot of emotions around it. All right? From the way I've heard her speak.
Yes.
Can we respect when you're wamefiwa hata? You know, sometimes people come to funerals for funny reasons. Kuna wenye wanakuja kuona ulijenga nyumba. Kuna watu wanakuja kukula. Kuna watu wanakuja kuangalia ile leaflet ya katikati yenye kuna mapicha. Kama kuangalia your moments in life. Kuna mwenye anakuja kusikiza alikufa aje. They want to know.
Kuna mwenye anakimbisha political mileage yake.
Yes, there is one who's coming for their political marriage. That culture, I think, should die, honestly. Culture of MCS coming to funerals and giving me a turn and saying they are asking for a seat somewhere. That culture needs to die.
Needs to.
It's not a political platform, tafadhali.
So those the championing our cultures, Abagusi, and African cultures as at large, there's a part where the African culture says respect to the dead.
Yes.
So please, can we respect our funerals? Can we respect the people that ni show yao hiyo siku? Why do we have a whole program na wanaongelewa time ya kusoma eulogy yao peke yake? Yes.
That respect should go all around, not just for even the people, even for the church that takes over sometimes the process of the death. Tafadhali, kuna njia ambayo Katoliki nazika watu, lakini tusi take it so personally as the church, and even not give the family to also share on how they'd want their loved ones send off to be.
By the way,
we should also give, if the person gave out an outline that this is how I want my last journey to be, let's respect that.
And maybe we should even have kuna wengine maybe hawataandika, mimi nitaandika.
Exactly.
Lakini hata wale hawaandiki, let's also know that when umesema familia, kuna unajua familia zipewangi hata nafasi ya kuongea.
Exactly. And that is that, how is it that my father has died and I don't have a chance to speak, give last tribute to my father relatives in a funeral? Come on, don't manyagoja, my uncle from sijui, my what from nowhere, I've never seen this guy, and he's coming to speak in my, and person who is vying for MCA is coming to speak in my father's funeral, and I don't speak. My sons don't speak at my funeral, but some regular guy wants to speak. Okay, no bad blood for regular.
Yeah.
No bad
In
blood.
context.
In that context, they are very regular.
That context, for this person who's bereaved and the person who has died, this is a regular person, right?
Yeah.
We should have utmost respect for funerals. They're a very, very personal thing to the people who have died and the people who have been bereaved. All right, we need to respect that. There's no way we'll start making a lot of noise that why did mbona kurusha hiyo mchanga. We should have respect for our culture. Where does our culture say that MCA anafaa kuja kuongea kwa matanga? Then we want to defend that but not defend that. Where does our culture advocate for violence?
Exactly.
Wapi? Ni wapi culture yetu inasema mtu apigwe? There's no place for violence in our Gusi culture. There is no place for violence.
And now let me talk to you as a woman and as a psychologist. I've had a chance, and most people have had a chance to learn that the marriage we are talking about, the lady who lost the ex-husband, the marriage was troubled. Very, very troubled. The guy was violent, and we have this thing again. My brother was saying, thinking that respecting the dead is talking good about them when they were really a mess. So I'm not going to play that. So a woman stayed for 9 years in an abusive marriage. This guy has had so many other kids out there, has had women, and even had contracted HIV in the process.
Yes.
I will speak to you I'll ask you as a woman. What happens? I know it happens with men as well, but for women it's more rampant. What happens that you can cling on to a relationship that is abusive? Second, what does it mean No, as a psychologist now,
Yeah.
what does it mean to still be able to stomach and take back an abusive person, not once, not twice, several times?
Yeah. Well, that's a very good question, but it's a whole book. But I'll try.
And your book is all right.
Exactly. Now, there's what we call programming. Yeah. When we are born, we are like not really a clean slate, but a clean slate in terms of what's the societal expectations and culture and behavior and socializing. Yeah. So when we learned as women, already we this the programming that is done depending on where you grew in, the environment, the context, your primary caregiver. Yeah. So number one, you being in a very toxic relationship depends on what was your relationship between you and your mother. How are they handling each other? That becomes your familiar. That becomes a template of love.
Okay.
Yeah? To an extent, when you grow up, subconsciously you will attract the familiar environment that you're used to. Your nerves are used to that. Anything outside that will make your nerves feel very uncomfortable. Yeah? I think you have heard some ladies say, this man is too peaceful. Yeah, it's too good to be. It's too good to be true. Yeah,
one told me you always say yes to everything.
Exactly, exactly. You don't give me that kick of chaotic environment, because that's what I'm used to. The adrenaline rushing in my body, because when I grew up, when I was born, that's the experience I had until maybe 18 years, and then I got out of that home. Immediately I went into marriage. Hata siku settle down tena and figure out other perspectives of life. Yeah. So that is what you attract when you get into marriage. And the society itself, the culture. Some like me, my mom did the best she knew at that time, and I'm happy she did that. But she did some things wrong, because when I was growing, I grew up hearing soma upate mwanaume mzuri. Yeah. And then now I grew up knowing it's about you grow up and you get married. It was about marriage, only to realize my life is bigger than marriage. Marriage just as an aspect. Yeah. So when you get to that marriage as a lady and you are programmed like your life is about getting married, and sometimes you're scorned like, well, watu wanaweza weka mwanamke when you make mistakes at home, and then that's programming. So to the point that ukienda sasa kwako, you want to make that marriage work, because if you don't have a name, like it gives us name, that's programming. Yeah, still that's programming. We're programmed like a man will give you a name, a man will give you respect in your life, identity. Yeah. And then now we go to that marriage like it must work. Yeah. Another one, you should be there for children. Yeah. Actually, you should live a toxic marriage because of children.
It's the other way around.
It's the other way around. But what's the norm? Yeah. What's the norm?
Be there. Be
there for the children. But you're breaking those children because they are going to perpetuate the same cycle.
You're replicating.
You're replicating, and then we end up calling it generational curses. Yeah. That's what we call generational curses.
They are not generational curses.
Yeah,
they are generational patterns.
Yeah, because that's a pattern I grew up and learned. You grew up, wewe ulizaliwa ukajua, hata shule tulifunza ukiamka you brush your teeth. We used to sing that song, you brush your teeth, you wash your face, and then you come when you are getting out, you take a shower, and then you dress well. Yeah, kuna nguo ya church. That's a pattern built in us. Even
hata tukioga kitambo ulikuwa unaulizwa kwani
unaenda wapi? Yeah, mbona unavaa ukivaa nguo smart, wewe vaa nguo smart ukae home relax, unaulizwa where you go ya church. So such programs, the behavior programs are just like those. That's a typical example how we are programmed. Yeah, but now we have realized these programs suppresses women more than men. I'm not saying it's not doing injustice to men, but women end up being suppressed most. Yeah, not realizing I'm a woman but I'm raising boys. Yeah. So if I grow up being suppressed, how am I going to bring up my boys in a way that they're supposed to be authentic? Yeah.
A messed up a wife.
Depressed depressed children. So sometimes it gets back to us. It's not about it's men and you are not fighting each other's gender, but are we creating an environment for us and for our children and for our generation.
Jairus.
I'd like to add on that before you ask me another question.
Yes.
She's talked about social learning. That as you're born into a family, and that's the most basic unit of society. And you're born not knowing anything, really. The things you know and you hold solidly that this is the truth and that this is how the world functions are things you learn from your family. Your introduction to the idea of love comes from what you see in your family. So as you go, family is the most basic socialization agent. There are other socialization agents like school, church, friendships as we grow. All right, but this very socialization agent that we are borrowing from, learning from, the most solid things. If there is violence within that space, we learn that as the norm. Our nerves get used to that as the normal. All right, and then you realize that from 0 to 7 years, that was the most critical age for teaching and learning. Very solid. Actually a template on running your life, that age. And that is where, if what you're seeing in your family is violence between your parents, that becomes a template that you pick very solidly. All right, social learning, number 1. Number 2, there is trauma bonding. All right, you as a person has not healed from your traumas, and potentially the other person has not healed from their traumas. So you're coming together, two hurt people who are going to be codependent. Codependency is an addiction. All right? So you are codependent on the other person. There is something that you are gaining from them. There is something that they are gaining from you. And now you think you really can't do without each other, but you're destroying each other.
That explains kind of why people cling on to even something that's wrong.
Absolutely.
But because there's something they satisfy in their somewhere in their mind.
Absolutely. If a person is in a toxic marriage and they know they're in a toxic marriage, you want to pull them out of it, and even they know, they come to you and complain to you that they want to get out, but they're not getting out. There are benefits they're getting from that relationship that they're not ready to let go.
Actually, like the benefits of playing victim.
Yes.
Some people are too attached to, like, mimi nasumbuka, mimi nafanyiwa hivi. They are attached to that identity to the point ukimtoa huko atakuwa anasema nini.
We know such. And then number 3, by the way, I don't want to lose that. There is the cycle of violence. All right? Tuko salama, we are okay.
Yeah, these people are not entirely bad.
Something happens, and then tension builds. Okay, so we were in a normal state. Tension builds, so that is a process. The tension builds, and then the incident happens. During this building of the tension, there's a lot of arguments. There's
silence.
There's silence.
Yeah.
By the way, silent treatment is psychological abuse.
Yeah.
All right.
Or emotional abuse.
Silence treatment is emotional abuse. So there's that emotional abuse going on, and then it culminates to an incident of gender-based
Hata kikombe
violence.
kuanguka chini.
And then someone snaps and the violence happens. Right?
Something that maybe hata mkiulizwa ni kwa nini.
Yeah,
You
but
can't-
like
But kumbe just needed a
Exactly. It needed that trigger. So that trigger happens and the incident happens. Once the incident has happened, now there is a point where this person starts coming back kukubembeleza.
Like ameona amefanya vibaya.
Anajua amefanya makosa, anajua amekukosea. All right? So anakuja na kubembeleza. They do things even they never done to you. Buy you flowers, tell you akibeb ni shetani alikuja kwa akili yangu. I know someone who was a very popular case. A lady who gave a lot of testimony around, alikuwa ananunuliwa gari after an incident like that. So huyu anabembeleza ni kama panya ameshauma, sasa anapuliza. So they become so good that when you accept them back, now it gets to a honeymoon phase.
In fact, ni kama imechukua relationship yenu to another.
Exactly.
That love then 10x's.
But ikai sana.
Ikai sana. Is this podcast 18 plus?
It's 18
It's 18 plus.
I'm not going to put
Do you know there's nothing, the rebound sex, makeup sex. Ooh, fire. It is normally fire. And that
And people get addicted to
are
it.
part of the reasons why you are addicted to this process now.
it's
Yeah,
what,
that's-
because you know, oh, when this happens,
There's
inaishanga
something
hivi.
that-
Yes,
Yes.
oh, shanga hivi, yes.
Wacha ningoje.
So
No, that's the
Ni kama-
trauma
ni kama
bond.
kukunywa makali.
exactly, ni kama kukunywa makali.
It's an addiction
Kunywa
actually.
makali alafu like unajua nitafeel
Utafeel
some
poa
type of way.
afterwards.
By the way, kukatanga makali hakuna kitu very interesting. Kukunywa hiyo kitu ni lakini the feeling it gives you
After.
Yeah.
exact after, because the feeling comes after.
Yeah.
I get it.
So
Oh, I know, I understand.
so this person, you're going now through that cycle, because itafika mahali utakuwa na tension, utapigwa, utabembelezwa, and then there's honeymoon phase where the sex is on fire, this person is doing things to you, gifts and everything, and then it falls back to regular relationship, and then it goes to tension.
Yeah.
And
So that's the
Instant
trauma
power.
bond.
So now that circle makes a person get really stuck into it, because also it is like a person who gives you some poison and has an antidote. Because now when they give you the poison unaumia, and then when they give you the antidote you feel so good.
Yeah.
And you remember
So
that.
then, yes,
Yeah, I
and
know.
then you remember that.
You saved me, man.
So then you anticipate for
The antidote.
that antidote.
Yeah, and some people are just attached to the honeymoon ukinikatia.
Yes.
Ile. So hata ukinikosea, my memory rushes to the honeymoon and I attach to it, and it makes sense for me. So I'll keep staying with you.
Nia tuko na
Yeah.
shida.
Steve, umeona watu wenye wamepiwa, majirani wamekuja wamesaidia. Amepelekwa polisi, mwingine amepelekwa hospitali, alafu akitoka anasema nipatie bwanangu niende naye kwa nyumba.
Anaenda
Have you seen
kwa
that?
polisi anasema mimi I want my husband niende naye
Exactly. Na amefura hivi, like it was a near death experience. Trauma bond.
I think hatuko sawa. Hizo vitu tunasema I have seen them.
Exactly.
I have seen them, and unfortunately men we become more darlings when tumekosa.
after
Yeah.
makosa,
After
yes.
makosa.
Yeah.
Mtu mpaka
And then-
unaosha vyombo.
mpaka unaosha- unaweza osha mtu. So and this is like you said, it's addictive. Oh, before we lose what we're talking about, she's answered your question, yeah, up from the woman perspective. Now I would like you to tell me, Janice, not as a psychologist, as an African akisi man, sisi ndo tuna trend. The culture, you said already that you respect and honor the culture.
Absolutely.
The culture is very they say when a woman has been married in a Kisi setup, that is is married to the community, the family and everything else. And that is evident from what we saw. The community wanted to service to serve the man even in his death, that Rusha Mchanga. But we fail to take care of our women, or the society doesn't care when you are having trouble, like you're beating your wife, you're having trouble with your wife and such things. They are not there, but they show up at a time like they did the other day. What do you make of the culture champions and what we do and how we handle the culture? Are we having double standards?
As we need to understand that everything is evolving over time. All right. For instance, in Ekegusi, a man is called Omosacha because he used to go out to Wosacha to look for and bring home for the wife to Kokunga. Yeah, that is even where the name comes from, right? But look at it nowadays, women are going out to Wosacha.
Yeah.
And they bring home and we both Kokunga. All right? That aspect of culture. Yes. That aspect of culture has evolved. All right? That means if this part is evolving, the entire sphere of culture is evolving. If you look at it now, we don't have the community that we used to have. All right? There's a lot of individualistic kind of lifestyle. All right? So that individualistic kind of a lifestyle was not originally the culture that we had. Okay? Now that people have individuated from their families, from their communities, from their
Culture.
extended families, even from their culture, that notion of this wife is our wife has also evolved to the individualistic kind of a lifestyle. It is his wife.
Yeah, actually, Steve, culture ikisema this woman is for the community, it meant good.
Yeah.
Just imagining it meant good. But as we are twisting it,
Yeah.
when we are saying I'm the wife of the community, yeah, haimanishi it's an object a community is owning. It's a human being who is coming to a community. So when I'm going to serve this community by raising these children the right way, to bring my light that God bestowed in me to this community, now I'm the wave of the community because I'm impacting positively to the community. Now that one I can happily say I'm the wave of the community because I'm positively impacting. Actually, God created us for a purpose. If you are living your purpose, you are impacting to that community. So if I'm married to that community, I come with my light. But when you twist it to reduce me to an object that is being owned by the community, that's where we draw the line. And I believe it was twisted along the way because of people's interests.
Wonderful.
If I may finish my thoughts, my thought process. Then now that we need to understand that culture is evolving, and as it is evolving, we need to pick what is barbaric that we should drop, and what functions and works for us so that we can run with it.
Exactly.
All right. If you look at when a boy was being circumcised, kitambo, there was a circulation period, and he could be taught on what it means to be a man. That means we had a framework of transition from boyhood to manhood. Now, part of the reason why we have social issues from men is because we don't have the transition framework. We take boys to the hospital, they're circumcised, and they come back home, they're taken care of by their mom, and that ends. There's no teaching on this is what you're supposed to act as a man. Statistically, Kenya is the leading in Africa in single household mother, single household parenting, and most of them are mothers. Statistically, by the time a woman is 45, 6 out of 10 women are single mothers, raising mothers by
children by themselves.
And part of them are boy children. Boys being raised by their mom. So that transitional framework that we're talking about, these men, we have a problem. There's a problem with us men kidogo. These men are absent to be there and show this boy what it means to be
a man.
To be a man.
I can't teach my boy how to be a man. I've never been a man before.
Exactly. So there are very many aspects of culture that have been lost that we should be keen about, that were good ones, than throwing soil to a grave. Finally, what is culture? Culture by definition is a people's way of life. A ways people of living. The way we are living now and the way we used to live in 1950 is different. So the culture that we are using is this that we have now that has evolved up to this point. Where have we evolved up to this point?
Wow. You've given a wonderful perspective on culture evolving. So it's not like we are letting or tunaasi mila.
No.
Ni mila zina change as.
You should not be tripped at unaasi mila.
So that's
it's no longer serving us.
I saw so many comments that unaasi mila, and I didn't know how to answer or respond to them because I thought it's black and white, but kumbe it's a journey. And just like it's similar yetu, haikuwa mila yetu kuvalia vile tumevaa sasa hivi. But now we are dressing up like this because it's our culture.
And maybe if climate changes and we have winter here,
we will start wearing jackets.
Our houses will change. The way we do things will change. School systems will change. Things will change. We are dynamic. We live in a dynamic world. Why are we so clingy to the past? Because it's serving us selfishly.
Wow. I think that is one of the greatest thing I've had, and I will use, and I think like we are not atuasi mila, by the way. I feel good. I mean, personally
mila ina evolve. Now we need to evolve with it.
Nimekuanga nikisema enyewe hivi ndio tulikuwa tunaishi, sasa mbona hii ni ukweli, so I'm struggling kama ni hivi lakini yenyewe I make sense. So it is that thing sasa hivi I make sense. And what we are living like right now is our culture. So we pick there are so, like you said, there are so many beautiful things that we have let go because probably they make us responsible, they make us be accountable. And then we rush
easy way out.
We rush to things that don't even make sense. Wow. Sasa there are things watu wameongea sana online about that lady specifically. There are so many atrocities that have been committed against women and of course men as well. Lakini about that lady, people have been talking, and what they're saying, those who are against what happened to her, they are talking about justice, justice, and legal justice, But there's a type of justice that people are not talking about, and mostly we don't get when we are victims of such things, and that is where you people come in. What can you how can you describe what would become of that mother, the kids who saw their mother being beaten that way, the community, even the public attention that they have received, and into the future? In fact, that lady had already moved on with someone else, and that someone watched those clips and said, this is serious. You're a celebrity right now, and you're the culture is a serious thing. So please, since nakuchukia, but I'm sorry.
I would love to let you go.
I will to let you go. So starting from that, na vitu zingine nyingi, how will you describe the most probably what will happen to her in from the psychological point of view?